is good and very well finished.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we can surely do that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And for later start, I will have a short opening to introduce Yakihon DoraHacks, and then I will lead to you. Then welcome. Then we start. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, Chief. Let's start. When the recording starts, we will start. Hi guys, welcome to Hack-nostr-on Workshop episode 8. And Hack-nostr-on is hosted by Yakihon and sponsored by DoraHacks, which aims to encourage more ideas, applications, and problem solving. Yakihon is a Nostr-based decentralized content media protocol which supports free curation, creation, publishing, and reporting by various medias. And DoraHacks is a global hackathon organizer and one of the world's most active developer incentive platforms. It creates a global hacker movement and provides toolkits to help developers around the world to team up and fund their ideas and build those via hackathons, bounties, grants, and more. And today we're so glad to have Stephen today to share his knowledge, his approaches, his this challenge he faced and try to solve in this let's call this a decentralized education, right? And his builder is called Bitcoin Library. And so let's welcome Stephen. Welcome Bitcoin Library.
Yeah, thank you very much for the introduction.
Welcome, Stephen. First of all, I want to say welcome for the hackathon. I read some of the project description. I really liked it, and I found the idea it's more creative, and you have some point to achieve. So I just want to say welcome to the workshop, and I hope you do well on the event. So good luck. Huh?
Yeah, thank you. So let me share my screen. Okay, so the Bitcoin library. So first, a little bit about me. So yeah, I'm Stefan, but I also have some acronyms like Stefan R42 or LARC42, depending on where you meet me. And I'm a researcher and software developer in the field of open education. And yes, I'm also very interested in Bitcoin and every topic around it, and also recently Nostr, which I think makes a very good addition in the field of communication around that. So what are we going to talk about today? So first of all, I want to introduce you to the problem and challenge which the Bitcoin library tries to solve. I will then talk a little bit about centralized services versus the Fediverse versus Nostr, and talk about a few characteristics of each and why I decided to build the Bitcoin library based on Nostr. We will then have a short demo of what is currently there, and then I will show you what is happening under the hood and talk about the nibs used and future development. So yeah, what's the problem? So the thing is, there are lots of great educational resources about any kind of topic, of course also about Bitcoin out there, but what we are lacking is a central, is like a place where we can send all these different educational resources and make them accessible and easily findable. So though we have services like Twitter, Mastodon, or Twitter-like Nostr clients, where lots of interesting resources are shared, we lack a service to collaboratively annotate these resources and make them maybe accessible through a search engine or something. And then, well, we could just say, okay, let's build another service that simply does that. But I think in the field of education, we have some special requirements, at least when we are talking about highly controversial topics. And I think currently Bitcoin is one of these highly controversial topics in lots of part of the society. So I think for such an educational service, we have like 3 main points we have to think about. It should be decentralized, censorship resistant, and support value for value. And I think especially the value for value thing is important here, because the content creators or the content itself might not be founded from state or similar organizations. So at least here in Germany, and I think in Europe and a lot of parts of the world, education is like sponsored lots of times from the government for some obvious reasons. But if you're making educational resources that maybe the government or other parts of society are not so like fan of, value for value becomes important to support these content creators, because they are putting a lot of effort in there, right? So centralization, we have like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and I think these are, for obvious reasons, not suited for developing or doing such a service. Yeah, so well, I don't have access to Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram data, and I think that wouldn't be a very good idea to build a service on like such platforms. But then I think when Elon Musk first tried to acquire Twitter, there was a lot of movement. I think the Bitcoin community moved to Nostr mainly, but there were also a large part of society moving to the Fediverse and Fediverse-like clients. Yeah, so we have the Fediverse being based on ActivityPub. It's a W3C standard. The whole community is very standard-oriented. And if you want to imagine the things like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, like walled gardens, yeah, which are nice if you are in there, but you don't have any chance to move yourself or your data out. It's now with a Fediverse, like we have walled gardens that have doors. Yeah, so we can easily go from or move a little bit of the things we post are also accessible through the doors to other users of other instances. But problems remain. Yeah, so the instances are controlled by the instance admins, And though the people in the Fediverse, when they talk about Nostr, lots of times state that what Nostr has as relays is like the same kind of thing like what the Fediverse has with its servers and instances. I think it's not really the same, because in Nostr it's like normal to send your notes and messages to a lot of relays, or at least to some, where in the Fediverse it keeps on your instance, yeah, and from there it's accessible by other instances. But I think that's a big difference, yeah. So, and that's also the reason that your data is not really movable, yeah. So if you want to change and go to another instance, that's quite complicated, and I think, but can correct me if I'm wrong, that you lose a lot of data, like all your followers and information like that, and the platform has no value for value incentive. So why is value for value so important at all? I already talked about it. I think people sharing free educational content on the web are doing humanity a great favor. And what I really liked about content in the Bitcoin community is that a lot of people like Gigi or other people are already using Creative Commons licenses. And Creative Commons licenses make reusability of your educational content a lot easier. Yeah, it makes it very easy, and for you are on the safe side, legally speaking. If you want to remix it, redistribute it, and stuff like that. So the question remains: how can one provide feedback to the great educational content despite the like? Yeah. So that's, I think, really important in this field. So the conclusion for the centralized services and the Fediverse is somehow they are not really decentralized. Yeah, I mean, the Fediverse is federated, it's not real decentralization. They are easy to censor, or at least easier to censor than comparing to Nostr, which we will see later. And they make it hard to offer incentives for content creators. Or annotators. So when I speak about annotators, I mean the people that annotate the educational content with metadata to make them easier findable in search engines. So the Bitcoin library. The Bitcoin library is an example of how community-based web annotation could work if we use a technology like Nostr. So I already mentioned it, Nostr is by design decentralized and therefore hard to censor. And its affinity to Bitcoin and Lightning facilitates the whole value for value thing, which we can also recently see in the only zaps movement, where people have the ability on their clients to remove the like button and just send sets. So, well, let's have a quick demo of what is already there. And I will shortly change my screen sharing. So, okay. So as you will see, the Bitcoin library consists of multiple parts. And for the demo, we are first looking at the browser and extension, or also the metadata editor if you want. So this is a page from Anita Posch. I admire her work in spreading the word around Bitcoin. And she, for example, has lots of resources here on her page. And what I can do now is, for example,
sorry to interruption, Stefan. Could
Yeah.
you zoom in this window a little bit, because now it's too small.
Yes.
See that? Or you can
Yeah.
make this demo window smaller.
Yeah, okay, we will come to this later. Yeah, so is it better now?
Yeah, it's better. Yeah.
Okay. So what the thing is, it's a browser extension, the editor. So I can open it right here. And what you see is it will automatically already fetch some metadata which is provided by the site. Yeah, so in the HTML here, there are there is already some metadata about what is the thumbnail of this page, what is the title, a short description, and that is already fetched automatically by this browser extension. So this is why I don't have to fill in these fields here. I could of course edit them, but I will now leave them as it is. And then we have yeah, I think the thing that's technical more interesting. So we have two drop-down fields here where you can select the type of resource. And the type of resource for this is, I want to, for example, say this is like a tutorial. And then I can give some keywords. And it's maybe about beginners and maybe say Bitcoin in general. And then I also have the possibility to add information about authors here. So I could say where this is from Anita Posch and her NPub. I got her NPub here. So, and then I can also give some information about me. So me in the role of the contributor of metadata, and we will shortly see why I think that is also something important and can provide my NPub here. So, and yeah, I will just shortly open the browser console. So, and now what I can do, I will hit publish. And now you can see that the resource was sent to some bots here. And okay, I already thought so. Okay. Yeah, and okay, what I'm hesitating is it like, why isn't it sending it to the relay? Just let me check. It worked like a minute ago. Just okay, I don't know. No, it sent it to. So I just selected another site. Didn't know why it didn't work before, and it was now sent to the relay. And let's make this a little bit bigger. And you will also see that it got published to these bots, and all the entries in the select field that we saw like a minute ago are bots on Nostr. So what happened when I hit publish was that all this metadata and the resource got also published by the bots. So if we go here, we now see that it here now just reposted this resource on the Nostr. So for example, here I'm on the Iris client. And if we now look at the front end of the Bitcoin library, and I will refresh this, we see a new entry is coming up here. Just make this a little bit bigger as well. So this was the resource I just added. And you see here the metadata I provided is reassembled. So it's mining and article, and I have additional metadata here. So this is kind of the idea of the workflow. Whenever you have something like an interesting resource, you can annotate it using this extension here, and it will then automatically be added to the Bitcoin library. And we'll see some more details later. So as we already saw, the library is consisting of 3 main parts, or we just saw 2 for now, but it's 3 actually. We have the metadata editor to annotate the web resources. That's the browser extension. Then under the hood, we have what I call the node fetcher. It's a service that collects the nodes and transforms them and puts them into the search index. And then we have the front end to display the resources and make them searchable and filterable. So the browser extension, it's a simple metadata, and it's based on JSON schema and SCOS. So JSON schema might be something you already heard about. It's a standard where which you can use to validate JSON data, conforming to like a specific shape, or you can also use it to build forms. Yeah. So the form itself is more or less based on JSON schema, and that we will see later can also be easily replaced. And then we have SCOS. SCOS is also a W3C standard. It's called a Simple Knowledge Organization System, and based on the resource description framework. So that SCOS is basically a standard to set up controlled vocabularies in a standardized way. So all these entries here are SCOS concepts. That's the thing the entry is called. And the SCOS standard makes it very easy to also attach different languages to each concept, because each concept is always defined just by its ID. So what I'm basically doing here is I'm getting the concept scheme and then saying, okay, I want all the English labels, and then I can easily set up this list of English labels here. But if I would have translated the entries also to like German, French, or Chinese or whatever, I could easily also have these other languages here. And whenever I interact with the data here, I'm not referring to the labels or the strings that are mentioned here, but to the ID that is behind this concept. And we will later also see where this is important. So, and additionally to that, each of these concepts, so each of this entry, as we saw, is a bot in the Nostr universe, if you want, which is reposting the things that's sent to them. And yeah, what this facilitates is you could also follow all these bots here, yeah, or say you are interested in resources about mining, you can just follow the bot. Oh, I think I already closed it. Here. So you could follow this bot, and whenever someone, so somebody else, is also using the extension to annotate some resources in this, annotating it with mining, it will show up in your feed. So that's, I think, an interesting concept there. So yeah, this is just the data that is sent. So it's a classic Nostr event of kind 1, and I'm using the tags attribute and putting a metadata property there. And in this metadata attribute, I have the stringified JSON version of all the information that I annotated in the in the metadata editor. So you have the ID, I have a name here, and here, for example, for the resource type, I have selected article. That's like the title, but I'm also using the URL of this concept. So that's its identifier here, and sending this with it, and also the keywords. So you can see it's an array here, and here's the ID of that bot, of that concept. And this is sent around and then brought to the node fetcher. So the node fetcher is a service running in the background and is like polling every 5 seconds a relay or multiple relays and asking for new data of these bots. And if an event got sent, the node fetcher retrieves it and either pushes it direct to the search index, or if the URL of the resource does not exist. So what is most important here in terms of sorting or identifying resources is the URL. So the URL is like the identifier of a resource. If the resource does exist, the node fetcher merges the metadata that you just provided with the metadata already existing in the index. And we will also see later why that is important. And then we have the front end, which I showed you. It will just show all the resources that are in the index. So a challenge in this community-based and decentralized annotation approach is sooner than later, different people will annotate the same resources with differing metadata. So let's see if we have an article about mining, for example. One will, for example, choose the keyword mining, of course, but maybe another one would select the keyword environment. Or a third one might choose both and maybe also add a third keyword here. So this makes it challenging if you're building a search engine or search website on, well, what attributes and what keywords are the right ones, or which are the ones that are better than the other. So to handle that, as I already said, the node fetcher merges the metadata, and at the same time, the front end then sets it in proportion with the attributes that were already given. And the front end then resembles that through opacity of the tags. So for example, if a resource got annotated for 3 times, then maybe 3 of 3 times Bitcoin General was selected, then 2 out of 3 times the keyword idea, and then maybe just 1 out of 3 times the keyword philosophy. And from that, I can reason maybe that the philosophy thing is not was not attributed so many times. You can also see it like here. So it's a bit small, but here you see general Bitcoin was selected 3 out of 3 times, then idea 2 out of 3 times, and philosophy 1 out of 3 times. And that should make it, I think, better understandable for the end user, which keywords and attributes are maybe provided by the people annotating these resources. And the other thing you might have seen is it's able to zap the authors and content contributors, which is not yet a full implementation of NIP 57, but I use the LUT16 field of the profiles that are retrieved via the npub. So as I showed you before, you can provide an npub, and then what I do is I'm querying the relays for the npub and see if a LUT16 address is present, and if so, I use it to zap it, for example, using Albi. So if I click here, Albi will open, and I can just say zap Anita, for example, and say, well, great content. And yeah, the payment just got sent. Yeah. And what I can also do is, if a content provider was selected, let's see, did I? Yeah, for example, here I added myself as a metadata contributor. So I am the one providing that metadata, and that people are also zappable. Yeah, because I mean they took the effort to annotate the content and put it in this library, if you want. So yeah, what I'm really using here is the WebLN standard. But I think I could also implement NIP 57 here for real zaps. So that's it. Well, yeah, that's basically the concept. But you might have noticed, but yeah, now that I'm reading this, you can't have noticed because you didn't read the code, obviously. But there's almost no data in the code, because I'm using JSON schema and the SCOS concepts. All the values and attributes and stuff is separate from the code. Yeah, it's living somewhere else, and that makes this whole approach easily adoptable. So you could write a different JSON schema, for example. If you're interested in making like a decentralized annotation of recipes, for example, you build some SCOS vocabularies which will resemble interesting categories for cooking. So, for example, I don't know, kitchen style, yeah, Asian, European, I don't know what. And then you use that data and can just easily adapt this website for a decentral community-based approach on annotating recipes instead of educational resources. Yeah, there's nothing much that. Why shouldn't you just use the same approach for annotating other kind of resources? And then you could follow recipes Italian kitchen instead of cryptography in your Nostr clients. Yeah. So basically, you just have to create a JSON schema, some vocabularies, and then you go. So yeah, what NIPs did I use so far for building that? It's NIP1, of course, then NIP10 to identify the bots in the events with the P and E tags, NIP19, so that's the one who provides information so that clients can easily substitute npubs with the actor names if they are provided in the profile. And NIP57 to, yeah, it's not really a ZAP implementation yet, but I retrieve the Lightning addresses from the profiles if an npub from the author was provided. So for future development, I could think, or I'm really thinking of implementing NIP51. That's the one for building lists. And I could imagine, I mean, to collect all the resources is like just the first step. Yeah, but then you maybe want to create lists of content that you can send someone. Yeah, so I don't know if you want to orange pill someone in a specific topic or something like that. You make a list of interesting content you got here from all these different websites, and then you share it. So I don't know if you heard of Lister. Lister is just a recent prototype. I think it's built by Jeff to have this kind of lists. And I think a list of like educational resources would be very interesting for the Bitcoin library as well. So yeah, that's something I want to work on next. Also, yeah, there it is. I didn't refresh. So first step, of course, would to be like go public, so people can test it out, find bugs and everything. So I just ordered a small server yesterday and hope I can deploy the service anytime soon. Then the list thing, and yeah, something I also would like to think about to get feedback or ideas to is how would be the UX for mobile users. They can't use browser extensions, but I mean, you are a lot of times on your mobile and you see an interesting resource, and yeah, then it would be nice to have an easy way to share it with a Bitcoin library. Yeah, so maybe just send it to the respective Nostr bot, for example, and the bots could also listen to if they are mentioned or something, and then push the resource they got mentioned with to the Bitcoin library. I think that would be also an interesting thing. Yeah, and that's kind of everything I wanted to show you for now. And yeah, I'm open for questions, discussion, everything. So thank you so far.
Thank you, Stefan. And let me have the first question, maybe a little bit silly. What is value for value? Could you explain?
Yes. So let me go back a few slides. So the value for value concept is an idea that recently got popular in the Nostr and Bitcoin community, and there's an article just is it this one? I think it's that one. I will share it in the chat if I find. So the basic idea is, and you can see it also in the main picture here. So just like they are street artists when you go to the through the street, and they are offering music. Yeah, so they are playing the music, and you stand by and listen to it, and at that moment they are providing the service for free. Yeah, so they are not having like an entrance and a wall and say, okay, give me $5, and you come in and then they play their music. They are just there and offer it like to the public. And if you like it, you can then go and give the person a few dollars or something like that. And that means you are giving value back for value you received. And you can apply that concept to other areas as well. So in thinking about education, it would be people are offering their educational material, their resources on the web for free. But if you use that resource and find it very useful, you might want to show the creators some form of respect or like, but not in the form of a like, but in the form of value, so in the form of money. And then you are giving them a few Satoshis. And yeah, so that's the basic concept. People are offering services and content maybe for free, but you are then giving them value back if you liked the content, if you appreciated it, and you're doing that in the form through maybe Lightning or Bitcoin or whatever payments.
Yeah, thank you. Got it. And for your project now, it's only have the browser extension version.
Yeah, so right now I have this browser extension, and I would have to make it accessible through the official app stores or extension stores. Yeah, so it's already working on Chrome and Firefox, but to make people having to so that people can install it, I have to add it to the official browser stores. Yeah, and I mean it's basically an iframe that's pointing to a specific URL. So you could also I don't know. Yeah, so that's the one. You could already just use it opening a URL and then also using it in normal functionality. But what I think is quite useful is if you are on a website and opening it, that it will pull the metadata of the website in here, so you don't have to fill in so much content.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. I get it. That's all my question I have, I think. And what about Isaac? Isaac, you have any?
Yeah. I'm here. Thank you a lot for this amazing presentation. I think the project seems really interesting and has some potential to provide valuable resources to the Bitcoin community. And also have like a few questions. And the main one, it comes like this: what inspires the creation of a Bitcoin library platform, and why you have chosen the Nostr as an underlying protocol for this project?
Yeah. So the initial idea was that I had the feeling that a lot of times I'm browsing through the web, I'm finding this interesting website, and then I set a bookmark or something like that, or put it on a read later list, but that's just for me, right? So I think it would be very interesting if we would collaboratively have something like a shared bookmark service, and from there the step was not so long to think, okay, we don't just maybe want a bookmark list, but have like a bookmark with additional metadata, so that you can easily search through content. So you maybe just want to see things that are related to cryptography. Yeah, and if just a few people or if a lot of people use such a kind of service to annotate the web resources, we would soon have a very big list of great educational content around a specific topic, in this case Bitcoin, and have it annotated with some useful metadata. So I don't have to go, for example, to this site, which is maybe popular in Germany for information about the topic. Then I have I have Anita Posch's website, which provides great content. So I would have to visit like 3, 4, 5 pages to see, okay, they have great content there. So the idea is having something where all this is collected in one thing, and then I can say, okay, now I want to get all the content about, for example, related to cryptography, without visiting 3 or 5 different websites, but having it all here in the library, if you want.
So it's shortened in time and efforts.
Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah, really nice.
That's the idea. Yeah.
Yeah, and also I have like one another question, which is like a bit technical. I'm just wondering about the V4V, the V4V concept, and how you did implement it on the platform.
So you mean like the buttons here?
Yeah,
To
the
that.
V4V.
Yeah. So what I used, there's a so what happens in the background is I retrieve all the metadata. I think we can see the raw data, for example, here. So one moment. Keywords. Okay, here. So authors. Oh, yeah. So for example, here. So the metadata contributors. That's a thing I added here. And I'm storing the npub that is provided by the person filling out the fields in the metadata editor. And then I can query or ask the relays, do you have information about that npub? Yeah, and I'm then querying not for kind 1 events, so I'm querying for kind 0 events, I think there. And then I get information about all the metadata of the actor, of the owner of this npub, and in there is a field which is called LUD 16, and that field contains the address of the lightning address of the author. So let's quickly see if I can show you here. So if I query would query for my npub and then parse the metadata I get back, I would get a field that's called LUD16, and then this address would be in there. And then from there, it's quite simple using LB and the WebLN standard. So I will just share the link with you in the chat. If you have something like Albi installed, it's I don't know if you know it. It's a browser extension where you have something like a mobile Lightning wallet in your browser. The WebLN standard will look if you have something in your browser that supports payment for Lightning, and when I click it, it will open this extension with the address provided in here. So if I click here on Zap, it will open the Albi extension. It will I feed this button, if you want, so with a Lightning address from this npub, and then I can zap or I can pay this Lightning address with any amount I want to. Yeah, so this guide, if you want to dive deeper in it, makes it really easy to implement such kind of services. It's like 4 lines of code, so it's really easy to use.
I got you. So can you please give us some details about the node fetcher service and how it will be used to fetch Nostr events and load them?
Yes. So the node fetcher. Yeah, so the node fetcher
because this is the part where I got like interested. So this is why I ask always technical questions, because for the use of the viewers that might get inspired by the work you've done, the way of thinking. So I just want to spread like more thinking for the viewers. So yeah,
thank you. So the node fetcher is the thing where the traditional ETL work would happen. So if you would have built the service using traditional, let's say, software and technology, you would maybe build web scrapers or something like that go through a page, then collect all the resources, see if there's some metadata provided, and then they would transform the data to something you can use and then send it to your database. But in Nostr, I mean, we are using all the same database, right? So we have like this shared database that every client and every user is using. So what I do with a node fetcher, the node fetcher knows my SCOS concepts, so my vocabularies, my bots, if you want. He knows the npubs. And he has a list of relays, and then every 5 seconds, he polls the relays and says, do you have any new node coming from one of these authors? And what happened when I sent the event here, it got published to these bots. So after I hit publish, then in between the next 5 seconds, the node fetcher will get notified, there are 3 bots that published an event. And then he will get these 3 events, and then he will see, okay, they are all about the same resource, yeah? And so he will then merge the events again, and see, okay, and they all got created at the same time, yeah, because when I hit publish here, it gets immediately sent at the same with the same created at timestamp to all these 3 bots, and then we say, okay, then it's about the same event if the created at data and the URL of the resource are the same. So then it will check the search index and ask it, okay, do you already have that kind of resource? So do you have something with this URL? And then it will get the answer, yeah, well, no, I don't have something like that. Then it will just push the metadata provided by the node, yeah, which is this one in the metadata field here. It will just push it to the search index. If the index says, yes, I already got something like that, then it will start the merging of the metadata. So it will see, for example, here, okay, the new node also has the attribute free. So I'm using that. It does not have general Bitcoin, yeah, so the annotator did not provide that keyword. And then maybe it provided also the attribute beginner, so it will add that keyword to the data. And then we have an updated record. And yeah, then it will, then it's finished more or less. So it's not like rocket science, but I think the interesting part for this kind of application is the merging of metadata, and that's also happening for the author information, because if now someone says, okay, that's from a different author, you would have the same resource because it was it's the same URL. But if they provide another author, you would see it here that a second author is there, and the one which gets mentioned the most times will always be at the top, because I assume that the one that gets mentioned the most often, yeah, might be the correct one. Yeah, that's one of the challenges in this kind of decentralized approach, that you have like yeah, you have to depend on swarm intelligence. I don't know if that's a correct term, but yeah.
And also, one of the questions that the community wants to hear, which is like, what would be, I mean, what will you given to the community as, for example, resources, support to like help them effectively use the Bitcoin library platform?
Yeah, so I think what has to be like a bit improved then is maybe the UX of the metadata editor. I think I can imagine having like a bit more of tooltips here. So what is meant with type of resource, what is meant with keywords, and things like that. And to maybe, I mean, if you would now come to the Bitcoin library, you'd think, okay, that's a library, but it just got 9 hits. So that might not be the thing that people are expecting. But what I could expect to, or think to have like an initial fill of the library is like building some small web scrapers myself that scrape popular websites providing already content about educational resources about Bitcoin, and then have a few hundred entries here, so they see, okay, you can search things here, I find good content, and I think from here there must be something like an want to add a resource thing, and then they get directed to how you could eat with other interesting stuff. So I think the first thing would be like to fill up the Bitcoin library. So people, and then promote this as a service where you can find great educational content about Bitcoin. And from here, you will have to push users that they see, okay, I can add content here myself. That's great. I know this great resource. I want to see it in here, and then they will be led through to the metadata editor. I think that the direction or the steps a user would have to do.
I think this is all for my questions. Sorry if I was like a burden, or I have I don't know, my questions.
Oh,
my questions. Yeah.
perfect.
So thank you for answering my questions. I hope to see furthermore developments on for the extensions. And how it just came in my mind. How do you see it? How do you see it in the future? I mean, how do you see it evolving? Or
yeah, so what I would like is, of course, if some other people would are also interested in this kind of project and would like, for example, I'm gotta be honest now, I'm not the best designer or something. Yeah, I have I think
design
I'm
looks quite good now, though.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, so that would be something I would like. So other people joining the project and maybe having their opinions here as well. And yeah, to be honest, I would like to maybe contact people that are working in the field of Bitcoin education, what they are thinking about it, and yeah, collecting their feedback and talking to them. If something like that would be a useful addition to them, especially if we implement like the snip with the lists, so they could make, for example, if they have tutorials or workshops regarding Bitcoin, they collect the resources they want to use here, make a list, and use this list maybe in the workshop. Yeah, so it would be like a kind of shopping experience. Yeah, you say, okay, I want to have this one, this one, this one, this one in my basket, and people can then read or go through the resources maybe in that order, and then they have a general understanding of this and this topic, and I can also share it on Nostr clients and things like that.
Yeah. Thank you, Stephen, for everything. There is no more
Welcome.
questions for me. Yeah, and we also welcome for the viewers to if they have any questions to comment on the on the live streaming, and I assume like Stephen would welcome the questions. So if any of the viewers has any questions, they can comment, and Stephen will answer them.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So it's up to you, Yufu.
Yeah, thank you. From my side, I check this live stream is the comments is full of heart. They
They
really
like the idea.
yeah, they like the idea.
And this is a good promotion for the Bitcoin library.
Yeah, that would be cool. I think if there is no more questions, and if there is more questions, we can keep for the demo day live. There is judges, and judges will ask some questions, and I think it's
and also I welcome everyone to join the event group, and you can also find Stephen by the name address Lauk 42, and you can ask him whatever you want, and he can like be happy to answer you guys all, to introduce you to the platform and everything. So I think this is it for the today workshop. I hope you guys see you for the next.
yeah. Thank you all. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Steven.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can keep in touch in Telegram and check out the demo day schedule.
Yeah, thank you.
Good
Thank
luck.
you. Bye bye.
Bye.